Thank y'all so much for being here. Well, man, this is going to be a great, great night. It's going to look a little different tonight. But as I was telling our family in the office just a while ago, man, I feel the Spirit of the Lord ministry tonight, and we're about to have church. It's going to look a little different, but we're about to have church. I ask our youth to please be respectful to our panel. This is not easy getting up here and getting asked all these questions. I ask you to just listen to what they have to say. It hasn't been that long since this panel was in youth group as well. So I just ask you to listen. I encourage you to ask questions, okay? I'll be asking questions. I'll kind of be leading it. But I encourage you to ask questions if you have questions. Because these guys are going through what you're going to be going through here in just a few short years, okay? So I encourage you to ask questions. I'm going to lead us in prayer. I'm asking Mr. Steve to lead us in prayer for tonight. I'm going to ask him to lead us in prayer, and I'll have a panel come up.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for tonight, for this another opportunity to get together. Father, I just pray for our youth, and it's so encouraging. And the most encouraging thing is to see young people respond to the Lord. And Father, I pray for those, I pray for the panel, listen. Don't let us for the end, and that, again, I think this is a great idea. And those who's out in the workforce, and going to school, won't be long to those who still in high school. Just like Chad said, they will be facing these decisions they have to make. And again, I'm looking forward to this so much. Again, I thank you for our youth. I thank you for our church. I thank you for Chad and his leadership. But most of all, it's all the blessings. I thank you for God. In your name I pray in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Amen. If I get my panel, go ahead and find a place up front. All right, so starting from Russ. All right, Russ, tell us who you are and tell us what's going on in life right now.
Hey, my name is Russ. I'm a lawyer. Special complex in Malden. We've got a wife and a year-old son, and we're probably seeing, and life's been real busy. Awesome.
I'm Carly. I'm a sophomore at Charleston Southern University. I'm in program to get my master's in athletic training. I work with our football team.
I'm Coleman. I work with my Natural Gas. I've been there about 6 months. Works about all I got going on.
My name is Marla. I'm a pre-med major and expect to be a doctor. I love you.
My name is Sadie. I'm a certified personal trainer, certified sports nutritionist, certified senior fitness specialist, and currently going under my certification in CrossFit.
My name is Dawson. I'm a baseball player at Southern University, and I'm currently a junior and I'm majoring in business with a concentration in management.
My name is Jared. I'm currently getting close to the
All right, so as y'all can see, we've got a wide range of different things that these guys are doing right now, different things after high school, different areas of life that life took them through, took them to. I used to work for a company called Centos, and I hated the job. I liked the company, but I hated the job. But one of the cool things about Centos is I was in so many different businesses, and I learned there were so many different ways to make money. And so you can see here, there's a lot of differences between this group here. But we'll also find as we go through the night, we'll also find there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of questions each one of them have to ask. There's a lot of questions they're still asking. So I'm going to just ask a few questions. But like I say, if you have a question, you just feel free to ask, and we'll go. All right, so the first topic we're going to talk about is friends. All right? So, do you still talk or meet with friends you had in high school? Anybody? You do?
There's a couple.
You,
Yeah, I have like,
really? Did you have like friends for life in high school? Did you just kind of think, I will be with friends for life? Yeah.
they were going separate ways and nothing happened. We just grow out of it.
Right. Just have different responsibilities. So the friends you have now, the friends that you were from high school, you still talk to, were they friends from school, friends from church, friends from school? School.
I'll say I've been blessed. My two best friends from high school, we're still just as blessed as we were. Like I said, that is a blessing because you're so blessed with those people. I've been friends with really since like second grade, and with both of them. So I've known them my whole life. We're still just as close as we were. And I am very lucky.
All right, raise your hand if you had a high school sweetheart. Raise your hand if you still live in high school sweetheart. That one blows my mind every time I ask you. I'll be honest with you, because last year we had very similar. Well, last year Ainsley was up here. But we also had Ainsley and we had, she and I and Davis at our middle school. But I always tell the youth that's rare. Maybe it is rare. So be careful who you start dating in high school. All right. So be careful. All right. So what about the people that you come in contact with now, after high school? Are they? Have you found that the people you come in contact with now are a lot different than the people that you come in contact with in high school? Yeah.
I work in the hospital, so I see everything. So, I mean, none of it's the same.
Right.
Any picture.
You can meet a lot of different people. A lot of people you like, and a lot of people you never see every day. But you really don't have a choice a lot of times. So, and then, like some of the people that I've worked with, I've had a couple of jobs since high school. Some of them, like I still talk to every week, some of them every day. They become just as close to people I was friends with in high school. So there's those kind of people, and like I said, there's people you like, I'll never see you again, that's just fine.
What about friends you have now? People maybe you're, a little bit not quite friends, kind of acquaintances. Are they kind of your age, or do you have like friends all in your age?
I work with the football team, so like I have some friends that are 25 and some that are 19. So.
Wow, that's old.
Thanks, Marlon.
So, I have this train about me, it's not necessarily a good one, sometimes it's, I don't know, I guess it depends on how you look at it. I want to be loved by everyone. I want to be liked by everyone. I don't know, I like to think that I was popular in high school, but now I look at that time, I was more popular in online than I really was. But popularity seems to be important in high school. Is it important in life after high school? Like those who are in college, is popularity important? No.
I'd say no.
No.
It's, once you get to college, for me personally, it was a different experience. I went into it thinking, I wouldn't know anybody and, trying to get into the school and all that stuff, but, you didn't have to. It was kind of flowed natural, and it was pretty good experience. Of course, there was rough patches along the way, being in different, college, nobody cares. How many people you know, and all that stuff. So, great experience.
I would say that being popular in high school is not important at all, but being able to communicate with people and to build kind of a network is really good. Because if I didn't meet people in high school or stay connected with people, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now, very well in school, where I'm at in life.
I agree with that. The reason I'm where I'm at is because of relationships I made when I was y'all's age. And if I wouldn't have been perfect, like if I would have been respectable in high school, for the most part, I don't think I would be anywhere close to it.
It's all about connections. The more people you know, the better.
And how do you know if you portray yourself as somebody who isn't going to get a certain position, you're not going to get it. Because some of these positions that we're in now, you have to hold yourself to a standard that is supposed to be more.
You know, I think popularity is a dangerous thing because in high school, what makes you popular usually aren't good things. You know, they're usually not spirit-building things. So it's very dangerous. I think sometimes as parents we can put pressure on our kids to be popular. You know, make sure they participate in all the things that the popular kids participate in or something. So I think as parents we can be good with that. Just like I had that trait where I want to love everybody, I want everybody to love my kids, you know. So I think we have to be very careful with that as well. So, you know, when I was in high school, I used to kind of hang out with everybody. I had some Davisville rednecks that I hung out with, and I had some more preppy kids I hung out with. One of the kids from Davisville, so he's like, Chad, you got to make up your mind. You're going to be a prep or a redneck. And I said, well, I guess I'm a redneck. But there's a lot of cliques in high school, I feel like. Do you see that in where you're at today? You still see that? Yeah.
I don't know as much where I'm at.
That's the most they work for.
Not where I work. I don't know about there's 30, 40 people where I work, and a lot of them work by themselves every day, so I mean,
For me, being on a team, that's not my clique. You guys,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
40 guys, I'm sure Carl's the same way with your team. Usually, especially if you're in a small school, you're going to see them around all the time. So
Are you on scholarship?
this year,
Awesome.
Amen.
That's great. Well, how hard was that? I don't know if you've ever seen this kid play ball. This kid is a baller. I mean, he is a baller. And I mean, he can play into some best. How hard was that? Because it was a small school. How hard was that transition?
Well, it took a lot of praying, and it took a lot of work for me personally. And I'm not trying to, I don't want to brag or anything, but it took a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. There were times where I wanted to quit what I was doing, whether it was in the weight room or out on the field, just give up. My parents, Lord knows how many conversations we've been through about what I need to do and what they want me to do. I wanted to quit a lot of times, many times. I just kept going, and sure enough, the coach came and watched me, and a few emails later, and I am where I am. And it was a blessing.
And so how many of you participate in sports?
in high school.
In high school. Yeah. Now, say he was homeschooled, right? Her dad used to think he made a deal with being in the band or something. But we have several in here tonight. All right, so who are your biggest supporters right now?
marriage doesn't have a whole lot going on, so like to be involved in our lives, which I'm grateful for. But, anything I have questions on, I know it's good godly advice, I'll go to them and ask for that. That's a solid place to get it from. They didn't have, they never had a lot, but they've always had enough. So I know I can go to them for advice and questions, and it's good advice. But yeah, they're probably the most invested in my life.
All right, so that's all the questions I have based related on freedom. Do you have any questions out here related to freedom? Okay.
Chad, I'll say one more thing about friends. Be nice to everybody in school. I'm not saying always was. And that's something that you will regret. People that you were not nice to. I tried, I feel like, but some things not better. Because those people you may end up working with, like I ended up working with a guy in Greenville that was a couple years older than me. But like I definitely never spoke to him in school. Not that we didn't like each other, but try to be as social as possible. Go to all kinds of stuff, do as much as possible. Be friends with everybody. Don't just have two or two. Don't be hateful to other people that aren't. Each or two or three. Try to be friends with as many people as possible. Not best friends, but friendly.
I feel like our age, like me and Coleman and like our other couple of friends, like we still, like when we're all home from school, like we still try and get together as much as we can, but like basically we don't talk to each other every day or anything like that, but like I know that they're always going to be there, like we have our big group of friends and I've been talking to half of them because we're all doing our own thing in so many different places, but like we know that no matter what, like we got each other's back still.
Everybody's growing up. Kind of sucks when you think about it.
So, are you friends with anybody that you went to high school with, or are you friends with anybody that you weren't friends in high school, but you're friends now?
And so where I work, so I was homeschooled, so misconception, homeschoolers are my friends, they do. And we are social, but it is harder to make friends. And so a lot of the people that I easily begin to work with now, and I'm really close to a lot of close there. And then there are people that I would have thought I would have gotten involved with in high school, but
So if you are homeschooled, so we come together, or if you are homeschooled, how do you get that social aspect of life?
I'm going to be honest, it can be a really lonely. I sometimes throw a lot of friends and not always time. I was very blessed that my parents pushed me to be sexual, so I was involved in sports, in church, in gym, all sorts of things. And there are so many outlets that you can get. You can go co-op with other kids for socialization. Play sports, please play sports. Then, if you have a hobby or a passion, go find a group that does it and pour everything out to it. I promise you, you'll make a lot of difference. But you do not just have to stay up all morning and do school and help your parents. Like, it is really out.
Somebody ever around have any big box friends? Softball, you softball, I think. No, we had softball in this last year. Yeah, we can say, she's the aged out. Which that's the only reason why we're doing, because you're aged out. But that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so now we're going to kind of focus on home life and parents and relationship with parents. So raise your hand if you're still living. So those of you that still live at home, do the same rules apply for you and all that good stuff. That's what's curfew.
I don't have a curfew anymore, but there's unwritten rules. I'm all about it, you know better than me. Cross your lines.
Once Dad goes to sleep, I have an apartment at school, but I guess, does that mean, am I still living at home? If I come back, during break, I come back home, so I guess I'm still living at home.
Most of you have, but you're usually off.
But what call is that? Once Dad goes to sleep, then that hundred will be very quiet.
That'll always be there. Yeah, just, I wait to be on the church. And that's always been a rule of mine. There was a lot of times, maybe some of y'all did, I didn't want that. But now I look forward to going. It is something I look forward to. So I know I'm going to be at church on Sunday nights and Wednesdays at one working time. You don't show up back to stupid. You don't have people stay the night. You know, I'm supposed to be there. Stuff like that.
So Russ, you have your own home, your own family, and so is that tough?
Yeah.
Or any age?
There's a lot of weight on your shoulders that comes with providing for our house. Right now, we're putting my wife in cosmetology soon, and so we've got bills there and stuff coming up there. It'll be different from the bills that we've got now, so there's going to be a lot of them.
So what are some expenses that you never really thought about when you were living at home that you had to have like
The cost of a woman. So as far as just expenses go, as far as another side of life that I never thought about whenever I was younger was insurance, because my son is, you know, you're kind of old, my wife, and me, if anything were to happen to us, that's a lot of money. And so my career is a lot, it's based off of my family. So that's one expense that your whole career is going to revolve around. It's like health insurance, and making sure everything is taken care of. Just such a basic level. Everybody thinks, oh, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, my parents just taking the hospital. You don't really get to see behind the scenes about how much that would cost. You know, so come on with that. That's been probably the biggest, one of my biggest priorities was.
I know, what about you? Are there some expenses?
Groceries. Lord. Like, you don't realize how nice it is to have mom and dad pay for that stuff. And then you gotta go get a bottle of shampoo, or a thing of soap, or toothpaste. Like, it's just annoying little things.
Just go and get it.
I really need a shower tonight.
Or like you ask your roommates, like, can y'all just let me use your shampoo? And they're like, why not? Like, or like me and my roommates, like sometimes we'll have waters and like our suitemates won't. They'll be like, can I have water from you? Like the next time I buy some, I'll give you one, and they go for it. Like it's just little things like that that you don't think about when you're at home. It doesn't.
So, if any of the drugs, you don't say any of it, but like, even, I've been married for 25 years, so I wish I could go back to mom's house.
I still go there like, oh, she's driving me crazy.
She just did that to make you look bad. But, do you guys ever homesick? That's what you don't know. Was it hard? Was it like hard in the first year, the second year?
Oh yeah, like when my parents dropped me off, it was. I mean, it wasn't even like. I don't know how to explain it, because I knew that if I wanted to go home, I could. But it was like I knew that to better myself, I had to stay, and like that's what my parents wanted for me was I had to stay. But like sometimes, if I'm having a bad week, I'll just be like, oh, I just want to go home. And then I call my mom, and she's like, don't tell me that, because I'm gonna come down there and pick you up. But you don't realize how much like being at home is just kind of like comfort too. It's like if you're having a bad day, like if you make a bad grade on your test, you're just like, man, like I just want to go home, just forget about this place for a couple of days. But
I was a little bit of the opposite. I was like, dang, this is the best sleepover ever.
yeah, but you're a little bit closer than I am.
Yeah,
So.
that is true. But that's funny. My parents, they asked me about it. They were like, I don't care, we'll come home. Because I said, once I went to school, yeah, I missed home, but I was like, I'm on my own now. And, you know, mom and dad are still paying for school and stuff, so I just had fun with it. I could, playing ball and lifting weights and school and all that stuff. And, why don't you ever come home? Just trying to live a little bit.
That first year, I came home about every weekend for a semester, but now I think I came home 3 times a semester. So, yeah.
So how many of you have jobs? How many of you work? We all have. So Gary, how many hours do you work a week? During school, work 8 hours a week. When you try to earn the break, they don't put down the camera, different groups. What about you, Austin?
Right now, I'm working part-time, about 40 hours a week.
Part-time?
That's just during breaks and stuff.
Oh, I got conflict there.
90 hours.
So during holidays, during holidays.
During the holidays, I try to make as much money as I can, and then when I go back to school, baseball is basically a job in itself. So.
What about you? Okay.
During school, I work about 25 to 30 hours a week, and then on breaks, I work about 50 to 60.
That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours. Oh.
Worse than I am.
A slow week, around 60. A busy week, maybe 75, maybe. Yeah, I'll say this, like, a lot of guys, see most of them over here, you over here. Utility companies are great to work for. There's good benefits, good money, but don't think you're gonna get all, don't have plans after work. Don't think there'll be no life in call. Like I'm gonna call right now, maybe you don't need, I don't know. So, just, there's good money, there's good benefits, but you're gonna work a lot. You're tired all the time. Yeah. So like, I don't know, some of y'all probably do work, most of y'all probably work, but like a 60-hour week, I'll just say a 60-hour week, get up at 5:30, be at work at 7. And you're gonna get home like right now, it's dark. And that's 7 o'clock. When you get home, you don't want to hang out with your buddies or anything. Take a shower, get something, get to bed. But it's rewarding. You gotta have a job. My thing is to have a good job.
Sometimes I'll do.
I don't think about that.
Sometimes I'll do, like, I'll go in at 2:30 and I'll be in the office. So, that's another thing, is some jobs you will ever do. And then you end up doing it, and I'll tell you, it's a different life. Other high school is completely opposite. I work a lot, I don't really do much of anything else, it's school work, I'm tired, that's it. I like to sleep whenever it's done, that's just it.
I don't want to make it sound terrible.
It's not.
I have a lot of things that I've always wanted in high school that working like I do, I'm able to do, able to have, side by side, different trucks and stuff. So I have a lot of fun. I'm not saying it's not fun.
You don't have time.
Yeah. Not a lot of time to use it, unless you have it, but it is rewarding. There is still fun stuff. I remember asking my mom the night before I graduated, maybe mine was the night before. I said, Mom, what do you do that night? She said, what's fun anymore? Because I love going to baseball games, football games, basketball games. She said, son, life just happens. And I didn't get it. I still don't get it fully, but I get it a little bit. And life does just happen. There is fun times at work. There's fun times. Like, it makes your time off, your weekends, so much more enjoyable. You'll be so much more appreciative for a Sunday at church once you get out of school. And, just sitting down at church is nice. They want to relax a little bit at church. But it's not all that. It is hard. But it's not all that. I don't make it sound terrible.
All right, what about you?
When I'm at school, I work about 30-ish hours off campus, and then I have a job off campus too, so it kind of just depends. Here, I'm probably about 30 a week when I'm at campus.
I work a 40-hour work week. I base the budget off of a 40-hour work week, and if I get the opportunity to work some overtime, I'll get that in. Once a month.
That's important what Keith said. I can tell you, where I worked for 30 years, we
wisdom, who you look at and you're like, wow, they like have it together, probably do honestly. Some of them, they really don't. But ask them about what their career is, ask them how they manage their money. Most people will be really open, they want to help us as well. That's how I had a grasp on what to do with my little family, was talking to as many people.
And another thing is start thinking with your money now, like start saving 10% of every paycheck you get at your job, because that is going to grow so much, and you might have to start working on it, blow it all.
Live on 50%, live on 50%. Say but anyway. All right, so go back to the home and parents. So, since high school, do you feel like your relationship with parents has changed? You say, what is this time that has changed?
For me, when I was younger, I've always been kind of a hothead, I'll admit that, but like, if my mom would say something to me, I would just come right back and like, bounce back right at her, and my dad would get so mad at me, and I'm like, well, if she said something to me, I'm gonna respond. But now I kind of can have a normal conversation with my mom without one of us screaming at the other, or same with my dad, like I feel like we have a better relationship because we can talk about things more, like talk about my future together, and not just like, oh, well, yeah, I have a outfit, so whatever. We can talk about, well, I'm doing this, like y'all talking about money, I'm putting this much money back in my paycheck to plan for my apartment, and just things like that. I can have a more mature conversation with my parents rather than just like, so I feel like that's an answer.
Do you think time at distance has helped?
Probably because I get a break. I love my mom, but me and her just, we butt heads a lot. So like, I think having a little time away from her makes me realize how much I actually need her.
Well, that's real. That is real. Because it's tough. It's tough as teenagers. You're not always going to agree with your parents, always going to get along. Sometimes your parents are wrong. I think it's very, very important as parents when we realize that we were wrong to apologize to our kids. Just as, kids should apologize to parents, parents should apologize to kids when you're wrong. But it is tough as teenagers because you can't get away, and one of the first things they don't want to take away is your car, and now you really can't get away, So, but yeah, that's a real thing. And I've seen within my own home, my oldest daughter, Morgan, she and Lydia are just alike, and they're older than one. But when they're apart from one another, I get jealous of Lydia and Morgan's relationship because she's like, yeah, Morgan called me 4 times a day. Well, she hadn't called me 4 times in a month. and we're really, really close, And she's a daddy's girl. Well, she called me 4 times in a month, 4 times a day. So that really does help. And I've seen, and I saw it in Lydia and her home. First I went to Lydia's house, or well, the first time. One time we Lydia's house, and she and mom got a party. And I'm like, I've never seen somebody, talking to mom that way, oh my goodness, but then later on in life, I saw this is my best friend. I really did, so.
Yeah, I think it's like as you get older, you start to understand where it comes from. Like whenever me and Dad were talking about this the other day, whenever I was younger, everything felt like they were against me. Oh, you don't want me to have friends, so you don't want this, you don't want that. But as you get older, you start to understand, okay, that was more, they have better judgment behind it, and that was behind it. Because when you're young, you don't. And we don't want to accept that because we think it's right. But I think as you get older, you start to understand that they are looking out for you. Maybe sometimes it is a little unprotected, but it's for your better. For the better for you. And like, living away, like I said, me and my mom, sometimes we argue, but like when I come home, she's the first person I want to talk to, and I tell her about like what happened at school or like something about something that's going on in my life and not what y'all are running and football like you, but
Ready to focus on
yeah.
So, did any of you feel pressure, especially we'll go with Lux and Coleman, and say you list off like 10 certificates. Where did you gain these certificates? How did you feel about this?
Yeah, so, I've been really big in since I was 13. I knew, I saw what's in the product pretty much since then. So I connected with, so I started my job where I work now in high school. And my boss, he's a master trainer, which means he has just about every certification you can have. And there is a organization called NCCA, I don't know what they are, but pretty much every certification you can get should come under them because that gives you that talk of the training to that. And so I just talked to my boss. I did a lot of YouTube research about what the best certifications were to have. So I got my basic, be a personal trainer, I needed to have my nutrition certification. And then I just went off with my passion. I love to work with older people. So senior fitness was something right up my alley. I love CrossFit, and now I'm getting my CrossFit certification. So, you know, you gotta have your big things and then find your passion, find what you love, and get your certifications.
So did you feel pressure to go to college?
I went to college for a year and a half. Yeah, I felt pressure. Probably dropped off, I wish I would say. But I felt like in order to be successful, I needed that piece of paper, that diploma. And I didn't come from a home where my parents were, I've always had a very open relationship with my parents, and they support me in everything I do. And so I remember going home, I'm daddy's girl, I came home crying down, and like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Like, I want to be a personal trainer, that's it. He's like, I want to be like, go. And so I struggled. I about 50 panic attacks, hit that button that said drop off classes, but I did it. And it was the most freeing thing. And you can be as successful as you want to be without a piece of paper. You just have to work really, really hard. Even when you do have a degree, you have to work really, really hard. But if you have a passion and it's not a conventional way that most people take, but you know that God's calling you to do it, He will provide for you. You just have to put in the effort. You have to work really hard, but it is possible. So do it and do it hard.
We have talked about this. It's just me, I love this part of the world. Girls, right now, you go to college, and you learn that. There's so many different trades out there. It's so many people that just think it's a guy's job, but in reality, it's not. I do think more pressure for girls in society. Like you feel pressure.
I like this topic because I think I'm in the middle of it. Like, there's a ton of jobs. You need 4 degrees from my school because those jobs, it takes those jobs for America, and it takes somebody that does this. I think it's great. But trash pickup, let your trash pickup guys not come for that's what we call it. You'll be very, very thankful. So I don't think there's any position, we've seen it, especially during COVID, people that work in fast food restaurants. People that work at any restaurant, why can't I get that with any food because there's nobody at work? So the people who have 4 degrees, 8 degrees, my uncle's 46, he's still in college, he's never been out of college. That's what he likes to do, learn certificates, degrees, whatever. That's great, but then there's people, my family, like my papa, who have never even considered college. And he was a grocery store manager. And those kind of people are just as important as somebody with a doctorate degree. So don't ever look at somebody with a doctorate degree and say, well, they're too good to speak to me. Those are important people. Don't ever look at somebody who comes and gets your trash or works in a fast food restaurant or any restaurant and say, I'm better than those people. Because without everybody, this end and this end in between, things don't run right. We've seen that in the last year and a half, 2 years. Be thankful for everybody. weld job, and there's a bunch of trade schools. I went to welding school, I never was in welding school. I don't weld, I don't use my certificates right now, but it's something I can fall back on. I'll always have my hand on that. So I love that doctor because it's important, no matter what you do. This in and this in, and everywhere in between, everything is important.
Yeah, my mom got all kinds of degrees and stuff, and she pushed that hard on me. And ended up, like, she was going to pay for it and all that. But with the financial situation my parents were in, and with how I knew that I would have to dedicate all my time to school because school was never a thing that I prioritized. And I needed to work, and so I lasted a month in college.
Yeah, so that is something too. When you make that decision, I always think it's kind of what I call buyer's remorse. You know, you really want something, you go buy it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to buy it. I want it. You know? We second guess ourselves a lot, and that's natural. But whatever you're leaning towards, it shouldn't scare you to death. It shouldn't make you anxious. You know, it's an exciting time in your life, you know. So if it is just scared to death or whatever you're anxious, it might be an indication of maybe this ain't, you know, what I need to do. And like Coleman said, every job is important, and every person is important. And we're not all calling me doctor, Martin. That's just, that blows my mind, you know. But I can see it. I can see what I'm doing, you know. If somebody told me Russ was going to be a doctor, I wouldn't do that.
I don't think anybody would.
But I know Russ, and I know so that is.
One thing I will say with the college thing and with career choices at all was the reason why, after I got out of college after only a month, which is right out of high school after college, is I was searching so hard for what I needed to do, and I was doing it on my own. I wasn't praying, I wasn't in the church asking godly men what I should be doing or godly people in general. I was just working so hard to what I thought was correct, and I did that for 2 years of working hard, trying to get stuff done. Never worked out. And so once you start praying and once you start reading the Bible and getting in church, doors will open to career paths that will just take care of you. And so that was just one thing. So there was worldly pressure to get to college, worldly pressure to go to trade school, and that in the Bible to pray about it. Doors open.
What you said about being scared of death. I'm scared of death. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but I mean, like you said, like Russ said, you just have to pray and you have to go towards what God wants you to go towards. For the longest time, I just stuck with nursing because I was like, you know, that I know I can make it through. Like I know I got that and that. But when the full time, even as a kid, I wanted to be a doctor and I wanted to grow up to be that. And then as I started working at the hospital, doors started opening, doctors started talking to me, people started praying for me, and I was like, I'm crazy, not trying. But I mean, it is scary. There's a whole lot. I mean, I'm going to go to school for 8 years just to see whether or not I'm going to get accepted to med school. And there's a lot riding on that. But my parents and God's got me. So we're going to help and cross our fingers and pray and see that that's what it's going to be. And I feel like it is. So we're going to see.
I was going to say something about what Mama just said, about the college thing. Don't sell yourself short at all. Like, college was not for me. High school, it was not high school. It's not like that. But school was not for me. But I've worked since, in the 11th, I've always cut the grass out. Little cigarettes, grills here, I'm sure. A lot of y'all know Roy. Roy used to pick me up from middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I worked for Roy every day after school, wintertime, summertime. That's what I did. I always worked. I've always hated school. But don't ever sell yourself short that you can't go to school. You know, even if you're not the best at in high school, I had the Tri-County went to the trade school, and I had like 3.9 GPA, very fast high school. So I mean, if you're you're passionate about something, you will succeed at it. But also don't set yourself up for failure. You know, if you know you're not a student, and you want to go get a job, or you want to go play sports or somewhere, or something like that, you know, don't put yourself in a situation that you're not prepared for. I would definitely say that.
You know what you're capable of.
And it is scary. Everybody knows. I know, I'm not making maybe a career change, you know, it is scary, but I know that God's in it. You know, I know God's in it, so. Okay, all right. I'll move on from that topic. One more thing I've got. Going back to money, do you look at money different now? Are you a little thrifty, do you use coupons, that type of thing?
I'm still terrible with money. I'm terrible with money. I love buying and selling drugs. It works out a lot of times. Sometimes it don't. I just had one work out a couple weeks ago, but I got a four-wheeler side by side. I love buying and selling, trying to flip stuff. A side by side keeping my wallet up. You know, I'm terrible with money. I'm still. I don't have any advice on how to save money.
Anybody else got a comment?
Is anybody good with money up there? Okay.
When I was in high school, and I have a really bad problem about buying tennis shoes. Like, I mean, I would go like every 2 weeks and buy a pair of tennis shoes. And I'm not talking like expensive Nike, like over $100 shoes. Like, I just love shoes. So now I'm like, if I do something really good, I'm like, oh, well, I can reward myself with a pair of tennis shoes. Like, it's like I have to have some incentive to be able to get them. I'm not just like, oh, I'm just going to buy a pair of shoes. So I've realized that I don't need to spend money on sneakers. I need to spend it on food or, you know, like other things I actually know.
One thing that I've learned through life is when it comes to money, it's not really about how much you make. It's about how much you got left over. Once you pay for everything, you know, because I know some people that think, something happens, you know, your brother, you go, you know, they just didn't take care of the money.
Shop at Walmart. Walmart pants, gift watch, Walmart candy, Walmart.
Coming from this man?
That
Love my life.
was fun.
It's one thing is that I still live at home, so I don't have as many responsibilities as like Carly buying groceries all the time and stuff. But you gotta think of your goals, so where you wanna be in 10 years. So I would love to have a house in 10 years. So I have mutual funds, you put your money each week that you get that paycheck in mutual funds, you grow that interest. So you have to think of your future as well as where you're at right now. So you can't just think, oh, I have a ton of money right now, let's go blow it on this or that or the other. You have to think about where you're gonna be in 5 years and if there's an emergency or something like that. Even though I still live at home, there's still ways to do it, to set yourself up for a better future. And
We need to
also,
talk, yeah. Talk.
Marla's good. Mutual funds,
next week's tonight, and also, once you get out of high school, you're gonna get a lot of like emails saying that you qualify for credit cards. And I don't think that's money that you do not have. It says it's free money, it's not free money, do not get a credit card, and don't need a credit card. I'm very blessed that I was educated, I never got one, but I know a lot of people that have, and they are up to their neck in debt, so you don't need a credit card. You cannot buy it at, you cannot afford it. Don't get a credit card. Yes.
Hey, Chip,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to hear, this is probably the best time for working in school. How much is time management changed? That's a big one.
Very hard to balance all the things that you need to do, which was one of the things I figured out my first semester, thinking that I could work and do school whenever I had 18 credit hours in college. It was a lot and it's overwhelming, and it's one of those things that nobody can really tell you how to do it. You just have to figure it out.
And I think you're either good with time management or you're not good with time
It's one of those
management.
things, either you got it, you know.
There's no in between really.
And like when you intend to go to college, like you will spend so much time with your nose in a textbook. Like in high school, I barely studied like AP calculus. But like in college, I have to study for every single class. Like my finals one night, I stayed up until 5 a.m. studying and had an 8 a.m. final. Like, you just have to do what you have to do. Like, you are determined, like, if you're determined to make like a good grade, you'll do everything that you can to make that good grade. So, it's kind of hard. Like, I've come out of work before because I'm like, I have to make a good grade on this test that I have coming up. Like, you just have to, I would say I'm bad at time management because I push it, I procrastinate really bad. And I wait until last minute before I start studying or whatnot. So, like, one thing I would say is if you plan to go to college or even in high school, you have to study, like, make time every day before you go to work, before you have a free period or something, like study in those little time periods every day so that you don't wait until last minute and study everything at once.
So what is, what's a typical day like?
Okay, well, you create your own schedule, so obviously I do not set myself up for any 8 a.m. so I can sleep. So, I'm usually in my class about 9:30, so I'll wake up about 30 minutes before. It's like, I can make it to all my classes in about 5 minutes before campus is really small. So I go to class, I usually have about 3 or 4 classes a day. So I'll get it done. If I usually have 2 lectures a day and then a couple labs, so I'll get done around 2:30, just back-to-back classes all day. I'll eat lunch at some point. I usually try and take a nap at least every day because I'm so tired. But I do much more. I'm one of those people that, like, your professor will give you PowerPoint slides and notes, but I still have to copy everything before them. I don't know why, I've just always been like that. So I copy all my notes down for every single class. If I have a test, I'll study the week of. I'll go to the cafe, get dinner. Usually, sometimes I have to work. I go to work about 3:30. If I go to work, I get back about 9:30. I don't go to work. I'll go get dinner, take a shower, go to bed. But you know when you say you go to bed at a certain time, that's when you get into bed and you don't go to sleep until about 2 hours after that. You usually go to sleep about 1 o'clock.
Well, it usually depends. If I have class in the morning, I wake up about, this is during school, right now, on work, I wake up about 6 and go to work, work out, sleep, all that stuff. During school, wake up about 8 or 9, sometimes 10, depending on if I have class or wait that morning, which I know is late. Some people laugh if I wake up at 10 o'clock, but sometimes you gotta sleep.
You take every second you have to sleep in college and you take it.
And also, sometimes I stay up playing video games, but that's the anyway, I'll do my weights and everything. Classes usually take all afternoon, and then baseball will start. We'll practice every day. That'll start about 3 o'clock, and we'll finish that up at 6. So it's usually 3-hour practices every day, which take a toll after a while. When you first do it that first week, it's fun, and then it's like, oh, why did I sign up? Sometimes we'll have lifts after practice, sometimes before. So really, it's about 5 or 6 hours altogether, and that's just baseball. You got class and stuff on top of that, which I'm one of those procrastinators. So I know if I don't do something and wait till the last minute, I know that it'll get done whenever it's due or it's supposed to be due. And but anyway, study for your stuff. As far as tests and whatnot, study for those. I don't do good at that. Study and whatnot. But I do good in school. I make things. So that's good.
Something I will say about school is set goals for yourself. I have a calendar on my door and I write down little goals on that every day. Like one of them is to finish with 4.0 GPA. I did that this semester, so that was awesome. But it's like, I mean, I put it on my desk and sticky notes on my calendar and my agenda. Like I write little notes for myself everywhere, like just giving myself goals and things to do. So that really helps a lot.
do you feel that helps you?
That's what I got.
I always tell, like, whenever I'm on the parent, whenever I'm in the kids that are down the course here, I'm like, grab one and just stick with it all the way through. Sometimes I do it, stick with it all the way through. Maybe change it up if you know you want to do it. I think they ever,
What do you think helps you prepare for life back to high school or high school itself?
Like, I did sports that first, I learned how to take ankles and that kind of thing, that's why I do everything. So it majorly.
I see high school as it's more like making sure you can keep a schedule and you know how to learn and take things in, but what you do outside of that classroom is what really matters. As long as you're doing classroom stuff, decent, then what you do outside of that classroom is going to really matter. So person was what I consider out of the classroom because it was so different.
Like, I always look forward to first. Like, it was, I didn't really look forward to going to high school that much, but like on my first year days, I was like, oh, I get to go see my teacher, or, like that sort of thing. So,
I think it's hands-on too.
it's not just a simple math and that kind of thing, like,
It relates to what
Yes.
you're.
And Coleman's point, he's a developing, he's not, well, every day, he's got to train more back. And he can, if he wasn't working any other, he can go on the side.
I had stuff to do on the side, but I realized how little time I had for soul and stuff. And I will say this about high school, I did just enough to get by. I do regret that, because there's a lot of things, like some stuff that I thought, I don't know. Simple math. I hate to be that person, I really do, because I promise you, I hate those people. I'm sorry. I hate it. I really do regret.
You wish you would have.
Now, I'm not saying I want to be a straight A student, I'm just saying, I wish I would, honestly, I wish I would have learned something.
Yeah.
Because y'all, there's plenty of y'all here that can spell, math problem.
It still spells on there, C-A-R-L-L-E.
Trying to be.
Yeah. Don't get too cool.
Trying to, I mean, if you don't want to go to college, do something money-based, but try to educate yourself.
It's crazy too, because if you think about going to college, I mean, you've got to do good in school during high school. And because once you get up there, I mean, you're with scholars. And it's just, oh my goodness, these people are writing papers.
And like naturally smart people.
I mean, these people you're going to school with are going to write a textbook next year to be graduated.
Does it make a difference because it costs where high school doesn't cost, you think?
I think that well, one of my professors was a doctor, and so I think that most of them really teach you like you already know most of it, and it's really hard because they're geniuses, and they don't understand that you're an intro level in that class, and so you go into it and you have to kind of teach yourself a little bit in some of the classes, so having a basic understanding of like science, math, English will help you not have to learn that as well as what they're trying to force you to know. And like for me, like I took anatomy in high school, and if I didn't take anatomy, I think I would have been a general manager. Like that, just if you go to Pickens, take Dartmouth anatomy class. She is the best. But I think college, like I was a good student in high school, and I've kind of figure out like my certain habits in college, but it does help that every class that I take is geared around what I want to do. Like it's like I don't have to take some like core classes, but like I have 3 kinesiology classes, which is what I want to do. So that helps a lot. One thing is too is I was the smart kid in high school. Oh, it changes. When you get to college, you are no longer the smart kid that everyone wants to cheat on. You are bottom of the line, and you have to relearn everything, and you thought you knew everything, and you graduated with a 4.0, and then you get to college, and it's like, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's not easy like high school is. And like you get the credit, at CSU, you get the credit if you have the C, so like you're about on that 70 all year, like
Yeah.
you're just praying for that
I'm
70.
so happy with the second.
Like if my first semester I think chemistry, and I called my dad not before the exam, I said, what is the lowest I can make on this exam to pass the 70, and I made just that, so.
All right, so I guess say you're pretty much wrong.
So I am employed by the YMCA. So I have set hours that I work there and I have work that I'm expected to do. But as far as my personal training, I can do whenever I want to. And then I also have my own business and nutrition.
So, do you feel like, person you work for, directly to you, later,
Oh gosh, Mr. Dennis, you know, in this office, like I said, he is the best guy ever. He treats me like I do not feel like I'm under him. I feel like I'm protected. He puts on me the responsibility that he also has on himself. And he trusts me. And so, you know, like he's going out for surgery in 2 weeks and I'm in charge of everybody on his department in 2 weeks. And he's never once like, are you sure you can do this? You know, he just says you're going to be fine. So it's great. Once you get out of high school too, for the year and a half I was in college, you are not, high school and college are two whole different domains. Like, if you don't show up to class in college one day, who cares? Your teacher's not going to call you or your mom will be like, oh my gosh, what are they saying? They do not care. And it may be different at a 4-year college, but I went to traffic and I'm not in grand text like this, but they don't care. You set it up for yourself and your success is on you and nobody else.
You have to be very dedicated.
You have to have self-discipline to the max. And when you get in the workforce, it's really nice because you're treated like an adult. Like, you know, you're not going to have, at least where I'm at, my superiors don't talk to me like I'm a kid. Like, I'm just equal to them. And, you know, they ask me for advice, which, like, see ya, why is it? Ask me for advice, like, pick mine, you know? But it's really cool. It's really nice. Like, I'm going to be honest, I hated my school. But it's really nice to be out of school. It really is.
What about you guys?
Honestly, whenever I'm at work, we don't really talk too much about personal stuff. So I would tell a bunch of young guys specifically that y'all need to find other men that have that mentorship characteristic and get in with them and find you like a officer or something, because we don't get to really like blue collar guys don't really talk with people we work with about personal feelings like that to work on themselves. So I would say finding somebody like that or a group of guys like that would be really, really cool for you, because I go to the men's Bible study Tuesday night, and if it wasn't for that, I'd be gone.
All right, so just a couple more questions. I wish it was a cool conversation, but I love it. You don't have to let this go into hardships, but have there been some hardships since high school, and what did you lead to, who did you go to during those times?
So, I think most of graduating from COVID. So that was a whole thing in itself. You graduate high school and then you're just kind of thrown out into a warped version of reality almost. Like, having to go to your first semester of college, half online, half in person, your instructors are freaking out and they don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's insane. But, like, I don't know, during COVID, I found it really hard to look at that. I don't know why, but I just did, and I took it a lot into my own hands, especially going to college, because I knew in my heart of hearts that I was supposed to be a personal trainer. But the world says, you know, to be successful, you need college, and so I just kept pushing into that so hard that I got my degree. And then I just had to fall back on, but like that wasn't my path, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. So I had a lot of hurt because I tried to go my own way, and I could have avoided that. I just followed what I knew God wanted me to do. say, well, I think this is right, this is right, this is right, because my parents say it. You have to experience that and establish that for yourself. You know, you trust in God because you have a relationship with Him, not because your parents do. So find your core values and your convictions now, so when you go into college and you do have these hard times, you have that to fall back on, and it's not just, oh crap, what did the preacher say last week? My parents made me go there. You have to have your core values for yourself, and that will get you there.
That kind of, this has been in my mind like all night. We see a huge percentage of kids like leave church after high school. Probably has to do with their parents, you know. Like Coleman said, if you're living under my roof, I expect you to be at church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Why do you think that so many kiddos, when they get out of school, leave church? Like young adults.
I think, in my opinion, social media has got a lot to do with it. And I know it's, kind of a big topic for everybody, but for me personally, I think social media and what people put out there on the internet, and all that stuff, because I see it too. I mean, we're all teenagers, young adults here, we all see it, what people put out, but, I mean, the devil's out there. And, it sounds funny to say and to hear, but he is shown in different ways, and it's a big temptation. And that's another thing too that I was going to bring up about college. Is there's a lot of temptations that come along with it. So you've got to be what do you call it? You got to be determined, dedicated. That's it. You got to be dedicated to what you want. You got to be dedicated toward God. Because when the temptation comes and everything, we all struggle with it. I struggle with it. When temptation comes, you got to trust Him. And
Do you see, like your parents always, my parents always said, be very careful who you choose as friends. You hear that your whole life. Be careful who you hang around. I feel like it's the same thing. Have you found that is true or not?
There's the depends. I feel like there's some people who, like one of my closest friends, I love her to death, and I'll be her friend until I'm 60 under. But like, there's just some things that certain people will throw you under just to make themselves look better. And she's one of those people, and I would never tell her. But I mean, like, I love her to death, and I don't think that she realizes it half the time. But she's kind of one of those people who she just wants herself to look better. She doesn't really care about what she does to anybody else. And those people, like, it's hard to want to be around those people, and it's hard to be like, let's fix this, because how do you go about that? Because that's your personality. But there are people that you think are great people, and in the end, they just destroy you, and you just go right on. Not even a house.
Back to the question about kids who are growing up in church and when they get out of high school and they start working, and it's like they never even went to church in the time. That was kind of where I was at. Obviously, I grew up here. I went to the youth here all the time. Youth trips, I got all fired up for Christ, and then I'd come back home and it just wasn't there. It was just getting rid of things. When you get out of school and you start trying to prioritize like work or your own personal things over going to church, like maybe if I just skip church and sleep in, I can work towards this harder the next week. That's kind of like where my mind was at. When you're going through these hard times, I was making like $7 an hour going to school. I'm not making any money, I just have to get gas. And Sarah Catherine was pregnant through school. My relationship with the Lord was not there at all. It was because my parents just got me in that schedule of going to church, and I just wasn't taking the time to really have a relationship with the Lord. Like, the Lord is my mentor now, 100%. My Bible is my mentor, 100% right now. And I wish that I had that relationship with God in school, because it would have been near a struggle. I wouldn't have had the weight on my shoulders, like all this anxiety, because I would never fall back. I can't trust that enough. It's working on a relationship with the Lord, because that can lead to it. When you get out into the world, you can't always call your mom or or your grandpa, whoever you're looking, whoever you've got to have your own kind of how to say just same values. Like that's one of your values that you need to take very seriously.
I don't know what the rest of the city is, like, one of the hardest things that I dealt with was, my whole life I've been very independent, I never even knew, that's kind of how my life is, since I was born. And once you get to high school, you start balancing work and school and personal life and all of that stuff. You come to a point where you just hit this wall and you have to understand that you can't do everything on your own. As much as you want to, but determined as you want to be, you can't have that weight on your shoulders. And like Russ was saying, is if you don't have God to fall back onto, you're done. And so that was one of the things that hit me like a brick whenever you get out there in the world and you think, since you've been nurtured by your parents your whole life, and you think, oh, okay, I can do this on my own, you can't.
And y'all, in this area, y'all really live shelter lives. Like, you go out in the world and you see, like in Charleston, you're like, oh my goodness. I mean, that had to be a culture shock. Like, ridiculous.
For me, like the church thing, it's hard to decide the church because there's not a true Southern Baptist church in Charleston. Like, there's a ton of non-denominational kind of like, that's not what I grew up. Yeah. But like when you ask about hardships, I think one of the hardest things for me was when my family here went through something, and I was 3.5 hours away. Like in October, my grandmother passed away, and it was so hard for me because I remember that day. It was a Wednesday, and I went into football practice, and I was like, I'm gonna have the greatest day today. Like it's gonna be a great day. I got like the littlest. I got a tape wrist that day, and I was ecstatic. Like I got a tape football player's wrist. It was gonna be the best day ever. And then I get a text from my dad that night, and was like, just so you know, like my mother was in an accident. We don't really know much, and then that next one she passed away at 5:15 a.m. So I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I'm 3.5 hours away. It's the middle of the week. I still have class. Like I just packed my car and I came home. I cried the whole way home. That whole 3.5 hour drive because she was my person. Like she was the rock of our family. She did everything for us, and like just going. And my great uncle passed away a couple weeks before that because he had COVID. Like going through things like that, deaths in your family, or just hard times that your family's having when you're however many miles away. That is truly something that is so hard. I can't even put into words how hard that is. So just like after my grandmother passed away, of course I was upset. I was just kind of like, why is this happening to us? But then I was like, I know that she is so much happier where she is, and she is in no more pain, and I just hold her to that. Like that, it happened for a reason. She's with the two loves of her lives now, and like she is so much happier. I told my nana, I said I feel selfish to even miss her because I know that she is so much happier.
Death is really cold. If you're going to leave, death is only really sorry for the one left behind. I think as you get older, you realize just how real death is. And just how valuable life is. It's protecting people. So the grandmother died of a tragic accident. No one's lost their father. So, I got to wrap things up. I love you all to death. I can't remember this community today. It's 2 weeks before the celebrations. Moving to y'all. He's one of them. It's just been a blessing to see you all grow. Y'all, you guys, we can't figure out who really y'all is. I got lost on the road. And I felt he was lost. When Dawson didn't go to church, but seeing Dawson in baseball, but seeing him take time to help the people and do something things I think what they don't take all on the park and that. You will never know that means to do. Y'all the best time with some of these older ones. It means to them and it means to work with parents as well. And the same is said, you know, I know a lot of y'all have questions, you just don't know. I know a lot of you, or I'm sure there's some of you like me. I did know that God was calling on my life, and I didn't want to do it. I wasn't going to make money, you know. And God has blessed me, but I should have made a lot more money than I do. with the years I have, doing what I'm doing. But I kind of felt like in a way that, I'm making 6 figures right now. Hey, no way, so in the ministry, so if I put a call on life, you will not find joy. You will not find joy until you accept that call. And I can promise you that I'm a witness to that. I can go to work tomorrow and just have the best day in the world and make tons of money and just make a ton of money. But I wouldn't see the blessing that I have received here tonight. I've never had a good day for so good as I brought you tears. Like tonight has. So God's supposed to tell me, like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to answer. You will find joy in that. If you don't know, you're like, I really don't know what the Lord wants me to do. Then just like what I said, get in the Bible, get in prayer. You may be like Ruth. Ruth just, the Bible says she just happened to be in Boaz's field. God will do that to you. When you don't really know, but if you've got that relationship, God will steer you in the right direction. Next thing you know, you're in Boaz's field. God's taking care of it. So seek ye first the kingdom of God. In Jesus Christ, your Savior, He's the Lord. Every decision you make should go through God. Okay? And it should be a reflection of your relationship with God. If you don't know Jesus Christ as your Savior, you may make that decision today, because as we said, death is real, But salvation is about so much more than just heaven. It's so much more. It's about a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. The creator of all things, and He desires to have a relationship with us. That blows my mind. I was a Pickens boy, a Pickens who ran from Him for the majority of my life. But He desires to have a relationship with me. That blows my mind. So if you're in here now, you know I have a relationship with Him. Then come to one of us. One of us go off one of these here, and let's talk about it. All right? Let's make sure that tonight before we leave, because we need that. I love y'all. We close with prayer, and we'll be dismissed. Bill, you're so good. God, you're so good. Life can be so hard, but it doesn't change how good you are. We can be so unfaithful, but it doesn't change how faithful you are. Lord, we can make some bad decisions in life, but you're so strong and you're so powerful. You can make them turn into good things, Lord. I thank you for that, Lord. I pray for rain, for blessings over these young adults that are here this night and sharing their story. Lord, Father, bless them, and I pray for this rain blessing upon them. Lord, I pray for our youth, Lord, this lead, God, direct them, Lord. Give them wisdom. Surround them with people, Lord, that can give them wisdom. Where they go to those people, see those people who feel that godly wisdom in Christ. Lord, we love you. Lord, we thank you. Precious, holy name. Amen. Give a round of applause. But thank y'all. Yeah.